Moving on now, US President Joe Biden will send 20 million additional COVID-19 vaccine doses to other countries by the end of June. Now, this is the first time when the United States will be sharing vaccines authorized for domestic use. Now, US will be sharing doses of Pfizer, Biontech, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson vaccines. This is on top of the 60 million vaccine doses of AstraZeneca that the United States had decided to share with other countries. AstraZeneca vaccine has not been authorized for use in the United States.
We'll share these vaccines in the service of ending the pandemic everywhere. And we will not use our vaccines to secure favors from other countries. We'll work with COVAX, the international organization set up, and other partners to ensure that the vaccines are delivered in a way that is equitable and that follows the science and the public health data. Today's announcement to share 80 million doses is our next step as we ramp up the efforts to respond to COVID-19 around the world.
The United States will send 20 million doses authorized for use in the United States to help countries battling the pandemic by the end of June. This is in addition to sending all of the manufactured AstraZeneca vaccine doses overseas during May and June as soon as these 60 million doses are cleared. So that is a total of 80 million doses, and this is the most doses donated by any country in the world by 5 times. So we are waiting for, of course, AstraZeneca, as you know, to go through the approval process of the FDA, but this will put 80 million doses out into the world by the end of June.
Now, the Biden administration is yet to announce how the vaccine doses will be shared and which countries will receive them. The U.S. had administered more than 272 million COVID-19 vaccine doses, nearly 60% of all adults. That is 157 million Americans have received at least one shot. 123 million Americans are fully vaccinated. Now, Biden has been facing rising global pressure to share vaccine shots as the country has been sitting on enough doses to inoculate the entire population twice. This is developing countries like Brazil and India are dealing with a massive shortage of doses. So far, the United States has shared about 4.5 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccine with Canada and Mexico. The country has also supported the initiative to waive vaccine patents. It aims to help more developing countries receive vaccines by ramping up domestic production. And earlier, we were joined by our correspondent Nick Harper. For more on this, let's listen in.
Yeah, it's certainly a big step from the Biden administration, something that we haven't seen to date. For the first time, deciding that it's going to give away 20 million doses that have been approved for use here in the United States. Now, the Biden administration, of course, is saying that this is a good thing, the US being benevolent, handing out these doses around the world, although, like you mentioned, it's not clear yet exactly how they'll allocate them to different countries. But there are many countries looking at the US and saying that 20 million quite simply isn't enough, on top of that 60 million that they've also promised. These vaccines won't be immediately available. The 20 million will happen at some point before the end of June. The extra 60 million, the AstraZeneca ones, by July the 4th. And many say that it is quite simply just a drop in the ocean. If you bear in mind that 20 million, if all of them were to go to India, it would account for less than 1% of India's population. So there are people who are looking at this in other countries who are saying, look, it's good news that the US is doing it, but they need to step up even more. In the last few days, we've seen the World Health Organization essentially call out the United States for its planned vaccination of adolescents. As of Thursday last week, the US started vaccinating 12 to 15-year-olds, something that it hadn't done so far. But Dr. Tedros, the head of the WHO, said that instead, countries like the United States, rather than vaccinating their adolescents, should gather up all of those doses and send them around the world to countries like India, to Brazil, who are really struggling, who need the doses. So look, yes, it is good news, but many countries are looking at the US and saying America needs to step up to do even more in the global fight against the pandemic.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.